Started a new one.
I know.
We're back. We're ready to go. Jack, move that camera just slight to the right, actually.
Camera?
Yeah, the camera. Just if you could just slight to the left, excuse me. Beautiful. That's perfect. All right.
Gotta remember my Facebook information.
All right. Fired it up. Again, we've had some major technical difficulties up here in the lodge. So in the back room where our podcast room is, we've had some serious issues going down. So
Ghosts are hijacking the electricity.
I have no idea what the hell's going on. So anyway, it's fired up. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast. I am your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry, and with me tonight,
Worshipful Brother Jack.
And we are up here amidst all of the troubles we've had. We are doing a podcast. We are sitting in the lodge room, actually. A little bit better acoustics up here in the lodge room. But we're going to fire it up. And we're going to omit a commercial only because with the amount of shit that went down with all of the electric in the back room and everything, we're probably just going to skip the commercial. But we'll come back with a better one when Joe and Ken come. First thing, FreemasonPodcast.com, Facebook page, as well as the community page. Answer the question to join. Patreon. You join the Patreon, you get part of Discord, and Discord is fun as hell. Let's see here. I have some shout-outs to give out. We're going to start with that right off the bat. So, without further ado, we had some new likes on Facebook. So, let's fire it up. Let me get into my phone here. And we had Bill Russo, Stephen Berner, Barry Ronner, Travis Gerald, Jeremy Parker, M. Anthony Francis, Barry Buswell, Ryan Turner, Bill Powell, Matt Stokes, Roy Vera, and Corey Leidy. So, brethren, right hand arms.
Arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brother. Vivat. 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 All right. Turn your mic up because you're awfully quiet over there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because we didn't adjust it
No, we
beforehand,
didn't.
so I kind of purposely trying to talk quiet, but I'll talk up.
No, you're good now. I turned up the volumes on my end. Let's see here. Let's go to Apple. See if we have any Apple reviews. I haven't. Again, everything is kind of ad hoc tonight because I didn't have a chance to do any research or anything because shit hit the fan a little while ago. So, but yes, we do. We most certainly do. And we have a Apple review from Dirk007. Worshipful, 5-star review. My sons and grandson are worshipful masters. They won't tell me where they hid the remote control unless I give a 5-star rating. I have a feeling I know who that is.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that's probably one of the Schultz brothers' family members. That's awesome. So let's recharge the cannon. Oops, sorry. Recharge the cannon and we'll do it again. That's funny. They hit the remotes. They had to do a 5-star review. That's funny. All right. So, Jesus, Jack, trying to kill me here? No.
Oh.
Why don't you lead this one?
No.
Come on.
Brother. Two arms.
Arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together now.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. Beautiful. So a couple things that we want to just quickly talk about. Number one, tomorrow you got an event. Talk about it.
Yes, this Saturday we have our comedy night. Flyers right here. I don't know if anybody can see it, but we are having Dave Riley and AJ from the Chaz and AJ show. So anybody who's local might know Chaz and AJ from WPLR. They are a local radio talk show DJs on the morning show. And he's also a comedian. So we will have Dave Riley and AJ Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Doors open at the Elks Lodge in Naugatuck.
Awesome. And how much are the tickets?
The tickets are $25.
And that's at the door?
They're supposed to go up to $30 at the door.
Okay. All right. Adam Stoddard writes, hey, it's not the equipment. It is your perception of things while taking too many mushrooms. And actually, while we're on that subject, and I want to thank Adam for that because I definitely needed to say this. This particular episode is going to be very taboo. Reason being is because of the subject that we're going to be discussing and the potential links to the two. Again, this is all circumstantial. First thing I want to say is that we do not represent any grand lodge, grand jurisdiction, and or lodge in general. We're just two Masons up here just shooting the breeze about things that we've researched. I also want to add that in no way, shape, or form do we condone any type of drug use in whatsoever. You are basically taking your life in your own hands if you do stupid shit like that. This is just simply a podcast for education and knowledge, and it should only be perceived as this. So with that being said.
That reminds me, I forgot something in my car.
With that being said, I also want to add that, again, I still apologize for the coughing. I'm still trying to get over this lung crud that I've had for 3 weeks straight now. But Peter Daigle says, I didn't think you'd be allowed to record in the lodge. Looks great. Again, we're not in an open lodge. We're just in a room. Really.
Just really the only room with light. So
yeah, I mean, lodges rent their lodges out for events.
We dealt with this experience in the beginning of the year. Sometimes it's all right to take photos.
We're not in an open lodge. There's, you can see, it's only me and Jack up here right now. Dan the Italian will be up here at some point because he's going to be looking at the electrical. I like this chair. I might actually recruit this for the back. I have a bouncy chair. The bad carpenter always blames the tools. He's breaking my stones about the it was actually what happened was we plugged in the air conditioner last week, and just to give everybody a quick heads up, we plugged in the air conditioner because it was hot as hell, especially in those back rooms. And when I plugged in the air conditioner, we lost the entire circuit in the back. I thought it was the breaker. I tried tripping the breaker didn't work, and now we have Dan the electrician on the case.
He says he's on his way.
He's on his way. Yeah, I'll hold my breath.
Yeah.
Joe, worship brother Joe, taking shots now. Not the first time George's equipment didn't work, from what I hear. Very nice. Joseph Schultz, he didn't know he had iTunes. Dan, I am on the way, capital letters. All right, so let's get into this. The subject tonight, Heath Moss.
I was going to say, I was going to tell you to look at that before you get going.
Heath Moss writes, you're a Marine. We don't expect too much. Sharpen another crayon. No, but you know what? We're here doing a podcast in the lodge room, so Marines improvise, adapt, and overcome. So here we are. And the red crayons taste the best. All right, so let's get into the main subject here. Before we do that, let's do Washington's Rules of Civility. Washington's Rules of Civility for Masons in life and in lodge. And Brother George Washington says, let's get to the next one here. When in lodge, we're actually on to the next section already. Interesting. Number 1, which is the very first rules of civility and decent behavior, says every action done in company ought to be done with some sign of respect to those that are present. That is to say, be respectful, positive, and kind to others. Try not to say or do anything that may offend or upset anyone. Fair enough. I think that goes in and out of lodge,
Yeah.
in my personal opinion. But, all right, so now we'll get into the main subject. Main subject of this podcast is going to be Freemasonry and psychedelics. So I'm going to start it off by giving a brief synopsis of what is classified as a psychedelic. Psychedelic is anything that is mind-altering, changes your state of affairs or your ability to perceive the world around you. It has been stated that psychedelics are a class Schedule 4.
Something like that.
They're up there. It's a Schedule 4, which is up there with heroin and all that. We are not, while we're on that subject, we are not talking about psychedelics. We're not talking about drugs in the sense of to just get high. We're talking about the drugs that specifically are the ones that are used by shamans and people to bring a spiritual thing, a spiritual sense of being, I guess you can say. So we're not talking about, I'm going to smoke some marijuana and get a little.
No, we're talking about like Jim Morrison.
We're
taking
talking
something
about,
and
we're talking about Terrence
some music.
McKenna. We're talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual drugs that we have been brought to light. And I hate to say they're drugs because in some cultures they call them medicine. So one of the things that we were talking about is, let's see here. The main drug, I guess, that has been brought up is DMT. Tetramethyltryptamine.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, which is also found in ayahuasca tea, which is done in the South America, and it's done in a tea that you actually go into an altered state for up to 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, and it alters your state, and it brings you basically blast off out of your body. DMT is actually an all-natural supplement. It's an all-natural substance that is found in every living being, including humans. It has been attributed, and they've had studies where DMT was found in the pineal gland of dead rats. And they attribute it to the pineal gland, which, if you know anything about the pineal gland, is the seat of the soul. It has also been attributed to to what is it called? Near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. So what happens is this DMT is naturally in your body. It's in every living organism on the planet, including plants, including humans, every single animal, and it's stored in the pineal gland. It's been surmised that DMT during a death experience is released in a major way into the body, causing people to give or have a near-death experience. So with that being said, your body in your liver is actually what breaks down DMT. You actually release a little bit out of your body throughout the day or whatever, and your liver immediately breaks it down, so that you don't actually feel this altered state. It's gone away. And it has to do, again, as I said, with the pineal gland and everything. Adam Stoddard, you're catching on right here. All right. So you're jumping the gun, Adam, but you know what? You're right on point. And I also did get your message a little while ago. No, I'm not dead. I'm still here. Our electrical was dead, but we're still here. So I just want to bring that up. Another thing that's actually very, very close to DMT is psilocybin. Psilocybin mushrooms, or magic mushrooms, if you will, or taking a trip to Mushroom Mountain. I'm going to tackle, those are the two main points that I'm going to be talking about in Freemasonry, or that has been attributed or acclimated to, not acclimated, what's the word I'm looking for, where it's, they go in symbiosis with each other. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they go together with Freemasonry. The outside light shut off. It's a normal running shut off light.
I didn't even notice until you looked at it.
Freaked me the hell out. But I just want to say that those are the two substances we're going to be talking about: is detrimethyltryptamine, and which is DMT or ayahuasca tea, and we're also going to be talking about psilocybin and how they relate to Freemasonry. Again, just want to throw it out one last time. We do not condone the use of drugs.
No, not at all.
The drugs that we are talking about, or the substances that we are talking about, are natural substances. We're not talking about chemically enhanced, such as like heroin, which is made in a factory, or crystal meth, or cocaine. These things are extremely dangerous, and even in some instances of psilocybin as well as DMT could be extremely hazardous to your health, and we do not recommend you do it in any case, shape, or form without being part of some sort of a study. I know that I just want to throw this out there that modern medicine is starting to finally come around. Again, marijuana in itself was considered a Schedule 4 drug, where it was literally, it'll screw you all up and everything. And I have to throw it back to Mr. Jerome in Naugatuck High School, the health teacher, who was like, he's got the little guy, right, with the bag, right, and he's got the cotton piece in there, and he puts the cigarette in the little guy's mouth, and he's pumping the thing, and it's sucking all this, and you see all the black smoke in there, and he pulls the paper out, he's like, see, this is what cigarettes do. And then, the next thing he says out of his mouth is that, well, marijuana is like smoking 4 cigarettes at the same time. It's like, really?
I don't buy that.
But I'm bringing these points up, and again, I'm tackling this in the first half of this so that everyone can understand exactly what we're talking about in regards to Freemasonry. I don't even want to know what the next thing is. Boy, George knows a lot about making drugs. I actually have done a lot of research on this. And so, yes, I have done.
Yes, he researched a second job. That's what
I feel as a Freemason, you're looking for enlightenment.
Yeah. And
I think closing your mind to things is detrimental to you. And again, I'm reeling it all back into modern medicine.
Yeah.
You have, and I have a love and hate relationship for pharmaceutical companies. And I'll tell you why. Because I think pharmaceutical companies are extremely good, and they have good intentions. You laugh every time, and I know there's shit coming. So it's in case the t-shirt sales slow down. I actually don't sell that much, so why don't you buy something? I'm just joking, though. But in all seriousness, pharmaceutical companies started off with noble purposes. We're here to help people. We want to give them medicine for this disease, this virus, that virus, this cancer, that cancer. And I think they started off with noble purposes. And it got to a point where they realized how much money they could make. And once they did that, they started attacking things, such as psilocybin mushrooms, such as marijuana, such things that are natural in nature that actually help people.
Yeah, and they've got no control over it.
They have no control over it. You can't tax it. You can't.
Yeah,
you
can
can't
grow it in your backyard.
You grow it in your backyard.
No, they can't get any money out of that. So,
and again, and what happened is, and it's very similar to the story that I told on a prior podcast about absinthe, whereas you had, the wine vineyards were starting to deteriorate because of a certain bacteria, and absinthe became the new primary drink, and everybody loved absinthe, and let's drink absinthe, and because it was. And then what happened was, when the wine companies wanted their money back, they wanted their business back, they demonized it. Oh, the green fairy told me to kill this person, and they were paying off people to do things saying that absinthe caused me to go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up killing absinthe, and wine came right back. Very similar to the pharmaceutical companies and drugs such as like marijuana and all natural things. The reason why I'm bringing this up is quite simple. In modern studies in the 21st century, they're now starting to look into things such as LSD and such as psilocybin mushrooms and marijuana. It's now being used for glaucoma, cancer, all these things that, prior to was like, well, no, you don't smoke marijuana because it'll make you crazy. It's the gateway drug. Because it's fear mongering. It's a way to control something that they can't control. They're continuing on. I can tell you're laughing. So
it wasn't anything major.
Absinthe makes the heart grow fonder. Oh, the Schultz brothers. I freaking love them. If you want to get more of the Schultz brothers on Facebook, on Facebook. If you want to get more of the Schultz brothers doing their shenanigans, join Patreon, become a Discordian, because they are freaking nonstop in it. But
it's funny. I was on my way up to Vermont on Friday, and there gets to a point where I'm going up there. Like as soon as I get off 91, I lose service, and that's it. I have no cell phone service until I leave again.
Right. As
I got off the highway, I opened up my phone and looked at a message that was up there. It was a photo from one of the brothers.
Yeah.
Of me being the hide and seek champion. I got that, and then that was it. I lost service 2 minutes later. I was like,
that was fun. We were busting your balls about how you disappeared off the podcast. You said
it's well deserved.
Grand Lodge hide and seek champion.
I'll take being a champion.
Thank you. So just continuing on with this, just want to talk about. We're getting back, I'm reeling it all back in, that these drugs that they're finding, such as marijuana is one of them, they're finding that there's actually medical benefits to it. I also want to talk about psilocybin and DMT. They're actually doing studies, even right down the road, Yale. They're doing studies about DMT and psilocybin mushrooms. Now, before I continue with this, my thought, I want to say, do not go in your backyard and pick out a mushroom and eat it, because some of them will kill you. Yes. They will literally cause you to go into anaphylactic shock, and you will die. They do all kinds of things. They're very, very bad. So don't just go picking mushrooms and be like, found one, because you will probably die.
There's a good
just
chance.
Throwing it out there. This is a good chance.
Depends really where you are.
It really does. But just want to say that they're doing a lot of studies with DMT and psilocybin mushrooms. And there was actually a very good documentary that I had listened to. If you want to see a documentary and learn more about what DMT is and find out exactly what it does, you can go on Netflix, and Joe Rogan has a good one. It's called DMT... something or whatever. But anyway, it talks all about the drug. It breaks it down, people's experiences, and again, all of their experiences that they had, they did a study on this stuff.
He got into it for a while. They're getting into very in depth into it.
But they are finding this one other one off the subject was it was a documentary that I think it was actually a stand-up speaker. I think it was on YouTube. It was a stand-up speaker who did. He was a doctor. And he was studying the effects of psilocybin and DMT. And he did a case study. He took 5 people. A normal guy who was just an everyday average Joe. He took a combat veteran. He took a heroin addict. He took an alcoholic. And he took somebody who was diagnosed with depression. And he gave them all a psilocybin, which is the mushrooms, dose of 5 grams, which is also known as the hero dose, which is you literally blast out of your body. You're out there. You go into outer space. You're not you anymore. It's actually called an ego death, where you as yourself, you're gone. Wow. You're not there anymore. That is a scary freaking thing. And he gave these people this dose, and he found that where it didn't affect the normal person, so to speak, as much, they had a spiritual, profound trip, if you may. Yeah. The one that was the combat veteran who was suffering from PTSD didn't show symptoms of it anymore. The heroin addict stopped doing heroin. The alcoholic became not an alcoholic anymore. So these substances, in some sort of a very strange way, rewire the brain. There you go. Thank you, Rocco Alfonzetti. DMT, the spirit molecule, can be found on Netflix if you want to learn about it. So these are all things that these drugs are being they're putting them more to use. And actually, I think Colorado is about to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms. Again, I don't recommend you go in the backyard and pick one because it's probably poisonous. There are a lot of poisonous, toxic mushrooms that will cause you to die. Unless you know what the hell you're doing, don't mess with them. And that goes for any drug, including DMT, because if you take too much of it, an unprescribed from a shaman type dose of it, you could lose your mind. You could literally disappear and never come back as you know, in your own head. Yeah, so do not, please do this. We're simply talking about this and how it relates to Freemasonry. Continuing on. So this is the effects of I'm gonna while we're talking about this, because we're being heckled, which is fine. I love it. Greg Schultz says, sounds like a lodge meeting. Joseph Schultz says, can we use mushrooms to keep the bitching to a minimum? And that's pretty much it. But pretty funny. Pre-lodge appetizer. I love the comedy. All right, so let's get into the two things and where it attributes to Freemasonry. Are we at least at the halfway point here? Where we're pretty much at the halfway point. Again, we're not going to do a commercial. We'll figure. Maybe we do a commercial. We'll figure something out afterward. We'll figure something out. We will take a break momentarily, in a half hour. I'm waiting for Dan the Italian to come up here because we'll add another mic. We'll keep the live feed going, yeah. But. So this is where the study that I've done, and I've done the DMT study on my own because I feel like these chemicals, you know, and again, I've done a lot of studying on the Kabbalion, and you know, it's even said, even in science, you only see a certain amount. You're only seeing the world around you. Yeah. And you could even tie this into the ghost hunters, which I also add while we're on that subject. We're doing our event here, podcast. It's called the Ghost of Morningstar Lodge, and that's going to be on October 19th. You could buy tickets through Eventbrite. I want to just throw it out there right now that you are not getting in this lodge room unless you buy a ticket. It is very limited for space because we are doing it here in the lodge. If you'd like to be part of it, go on Eventbrite. You can actually click on the Freemasons podcast page, and you'll see our event is on there, and it's going to be a good time. We're not only doing the reveal of everything that was found up here in the lodge, but we're also doing a live spirit box session up here. And I can tell you, again, I just want to say, everybody who's interested in this, it's going to be around Halloween. There is nothing maleficent up here in the lodge. They are pranksters and jokesters. Henry still sucks. They move cigarette packs. They make noises. They have they throw bells across the room. We've had a lot of fun up here. And, you know, they're just brothers. They're no different than me and Jack sitting here at the table. They're just kind of saying, hey, we're here. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about when we do the live spirit box session getting slapped in the face or anything. They're not going to do anything like that. They're respectable Masons. Although I'll slap the shit out of Joe.
Oh, yeah. George, you'll be right there without any question. But I went to one of their reveals at Liberty Lodge, Liberty Continental Lodge last year, I think, and it was a good time. And I stayed for the spirit box session afterwards, and that was definitely interesting.
So Jason Mills, thank you very much for the information. Said that, so the DMT documentary isn't on Netflix anymore, FYI. Looks like it's not in Prime either. Makes sense. But you know what? You can look it up is on YouTube and IMDb.
Yeah,
they're both on there.
It's probably on there. Yeah,
they're both on there. You can definitely find this documentary. I'm almost 1,000% positive it's on YouTube.
You Google it. You will find it.
You'll find it. And it's very interesting. It's you know, their cinematics and it's kind of cheesy, but it'll give you a better idea, a much better idea than I can give you. Yeah. But Anyway, reeling this all back in. We're doing our event here. Ghost hunters, come on up here. Got to buy a ticket.
Yeah,
Got to buy a
good
ticket.
time.
It's on Eventbrite. You'll see. It says right when you click into the event, buy tickets. You buy the general admission ticket to get in the door. We will be scanning the tickets at the door. So, and you know, it's funny. I got a quick story on this before we get back into it. So I call up Rafferty.
Yeah.
I'm like, download this app. He's like, why? What am I downloading? I said, just download this app. And I had him download the Eventbrite
Yeah, I was
app.
going to ask you about that after.
What?
That app.
Yeah, I'll ask you. We'll talk about it afterward. But basically, you buy the tickets, and I can see everybody who's buying tickets.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, yeah, when they come here, they got to come with their tickets, and you know, you're going to take your phone, and you're going to scan it at the door. And he's like, so I'm your door guy? I'm like, dude, you're like 8'7". Like, yeah, you're my freaking door guy. Like, you're the mountain.
Yeah.
There's no goddamn way I'm gonna have anybody else. I'm not gonna put Rocco at the bottom of the stairs. I mean, just kick him in the chest and then walk up the stairs and be grabbing for his inhaler. So yeah, Raph, you're the guy at the door. So
Yeah, perfect.
no, but he said no. You know, all joking aside, he said yeah, absolutely. So, but it's a pretty funny story. But so yeah, that's what we're doing. So reeling this all back in, you know, back to what I was saying, I am a firm believer in that, you know, the human mind, again, it's science proven. We only use what, 8-10% of our brain?
It's very
A
small.
lot of things are filtered out that we don't see. And I believe that these psilocybin mushrooms or DMT basically pulls that veil back and allows your brain to see everything. And it's such a magnitude of overload that it just fires everything into your head. And that's why, you know, people have, you could have bad trips, you can have good trips. I also think that it plays into your state of mind in a sense, you know, if you're a shitty person or you have a shitty attitude,
heighten that.
it's just going to heighten that, you know. Again, I attribute it to I have to find the video and I'm going to post it so that everybody could see it. It's actually pretty funny. It's an organ donor video. I'll definitely post it. But it talks about so-and-so was an asshole. He was an asshole his entire life. Like he's talking about, he's like kicking kids and stealing their candy and everything. And then he ended up dying because he was heckling a waitress, and he ends up croaking over and dying, but he gave his kidneys to this person and that person. So the whole story was like, even after death, you don't have to be an asshole. Yeah,
Dennis redeemed himself.
Yeah, Dennis is not an asshole anymore. Like, it was pretty funny. But back on the main yeah, but getting back into it, I think, you know, your vision, your brain only filters out. It only allows in a certain amount. So like what I'm seeing around me is just what I'm seeing. You know, it's what my brain is allowing me to see. But when you take a mind-altering substance, it allows everything in. And, you know, it's your brain trying to make sense of it. And back in the day, I mean, God, all the way back to ancient times in Rome, they used mind-altering substances. Opium was one of them. You know, you know, was a major one.
It was in dens where people would go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
be a large amount of people, and they just sit there and experience it.
They would experience it, and it's just their way of opening and expanding their minds. You even can go back as far as Greece, where they talked about the Oracle at Delphi, and they actually found that the Oracle at Delphi on that mountain, it was a freaking volcano, and it was and the gases were coming up through the ground, and they were, I mean, now we know that they're poisonous, but that back then they didn't. But they would go up there to see this oracle, and they're in outer space, not knowing it. So the man has always tried to pursue something or understand life. It's been our goal, is to understand life. Shit, Freemasonry itself, it's enlightenment. You know, so doing this podcast on this very taboo, touchy subject for certain, you have the people who are like, you know, in any type of Masonic lodge or even in politically, or it's like, you can't talk about that. Like,
It's always
you can't talk about that.
it's
Like,
a hush hush thing.
it's a hush hush thing. But why? We're here for enlightenment. We're Masons. That's what we're after. Enlightenment. You know, there's good enlightenment. There's also bad enlightenment.
Exactly.
But any type of conversation is a form of knowledge.
Exactly. You got to take the
So-
good with the bad.
Right. You know, so that's pretty much why I'm doing this. Rocco Alfanzeri also said, brother said, Aragot wine. There you go. There's another one. That was Roman, I believe, right, Rocco? The Romans did Aragot wine. And I think, if I may be wrong on this, but Aragot wine was loaded with lead because I believe what the Romans used to actually make their wine in was a form of pewter, which actually has a ton of lead in it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that was attributed to making Emperor Nero lose his freaking mind. But then again, there was a lot of other emperors that were just as freaking batshit crazy. But we're going to pause.
Yeah.
We're going to go take a break. We're going to wait for Dan to come up. Have a look around the lodge room. If you guys got questions, fire them in, because the second half of this, I'm going to be talking about Freemasonry and how psychedelics attribute to Freemasonry. So we're going to pause it, and we'll be back. Stay tuned. Break time, break time, break time. Don't go anywhere, because it's going to get good after this. Because this is where I reel it all back in. Bring it all right back to the forefront. So,
Is your video delayed?
No, not at all. I'm watching it live right off the camera, so nothing is delayed for me.
Oh yeah, I'm watching on Facebook. It's way fucking delayed.
Oh yeah, when it's delayed.
Are the mics off?
No, mics are still on.
Oh, all
they
right.
can still hear us.
Oh,
Everything
all
we're
right.
saying. Wave. Hey. Yeah. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Poke around the lodge room. Have a look. It's pretty nice up here. Let's do one thing. Let's do one thing for the watcher, for the people watching. Stick around. So, for those interested who are watching live, we at Morningstar Lodge have two charters. This one, we're actually going to open up. And we're going to open this up so everybody can see. I'm going to walk that one down. This is our actual working charter. We have a working charter, which is, this date is actually, I think it's 1851. Yes, this date is 1851 of this charter. And this is what we consider our working charter. Oh wow, they wrote a bunch of notes in the back. Oh, this is where George Washington Lodge actually joined us in 1990.
Oh yeah.
Pretty cool. And this one is going to be the big mama. You guys will like this one. Joseph Schultz and all the Masons who are watching. Check this out. We're going to bring it up over here. This is our original charter from 1804. Very slow. This is the original charter of Morningstar Lodge from 1804. This is what? 1804? That's how many years off the Declaration of Independence? 30 years?
It was 1776.
I actually scared you to touch this thing.
Yeah. I didn't want to let it go and let it.
Yeah.
Show the horns too.
Oh yeah, the horns. Well, we're gonna get into that. Don't tell anyone. Don't talk about the horns yet.
Hey, I'm just thinking back to
No, I
previous
know.
podcasts.
I know. So that's the original charter right there, fellas. It's from 1804. The treasure maps on the back. Joseph Schultz.
Got to bring the spectacles in.
Yeah. So that's before we close down everything, we'll show some other stuff from 1800s, 1850s, and all that stuff. We got a lot of old shit in this lodge. The furniture itself has got to be at least from the 1900s.
Wow.
At least I think it's 1912 because there's a picture that actually posted. If you go on the Ghosts of Morningstar Lodge and you look at the event, I posted a picture of an old lodge picture from, I think it has to be, that picture was taken in the Yale Beach building. And I think we were in the Yale Beach building from 1901 to 1912. So that's how old the furniture you see around here is. Building's new, but all right, let's go take our break. We'll be back. Stick around. You guys got questions about the first half of this? And I'll answer them. So fire them in. We'll be back. we're back. We're back. Oh, Jack, can you grab me another beer? Sorry. So we're half back. First half of this. Very specific types of, quiet you. I'm building there. You guys are messing up my flow. Although I love it. Ghost stuff to happen. Maybe. Never know. They're up here. They are definitely up here. Again, I was more of the skeptical until things started happening. All right. All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. And we are back. We're actually we're gonna do a live commercial, I think.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a live commercial. So it's gonna be an unexpected commercial. But it's not gonna really be a commercial, so to speak. No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be more for our live people. So before I fire this up. Boy. Yeah, before I fire this up, just we're talking about the real tough subject here. You know, there's not too many Grand Lodge officers that are probably going to be listening to this. However, you know, we're covering some. Oh, look at this! The Grand Master just logged on.
Really?
Yeah, Grand Master just logged. And Jack has left the building. That's funny. So, hi, Jack. Welcome back.
Is it still on?
Yeah, we're still on. All right. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. And we are back. We just did a little funny thing on live. But, if you want to see it, go on the freemasonpodcast.com. We're on Freemason Podcast Facebook page. We are live right now watching, and you can see Jack bolt out the door.
Hey,
but anyway,
gotta be safe.
all right. Grab my beer, and let's get into the second half of this. All right, so the first half of this, I basically broke down the drugs that we're talking about, and we're talking about DMT, and we're talking about ayahuasca. DMT and ayahuasca, which is a form of DMT, which is found in all living beings or all living things on this planet. But we're also talking about psilocybin mushrooms. The very first thing I want to get into is now we're going to talk about the Freemasons. We're going to talk about our ritual. I just want to throw out and say that there is no way, shape, or form in a actual Masonic lodge that any type of mind-altering substance, including, can I have a little bit more? Including ayahuasca and or DMT or any other drug, is used during our rituals. Not whatsoever. So I just want to be absolutely clear on that. So first thing is, what's the matter? Oh, you're trying to kill me, you bastard. First thing we're going to talk about is quite simple. We're going to get a little bit into ritual, and we're going to get a little bit into what I don't know where. Oh, here it is.
It's your coaster.
Brother Rocco Alfonsetti has left a book up here, and this is, I'm not 100% sure if he is, but I did watch a stand-up. I want to say stand-up because stand-up sells a comedy. That's what you're doing. This is actually a documentary that was done.
Yeah,
Guest speaker at a particular thing. And his name is P.D. Newman. And this particular book right here that I'm holding up in my hand is called Alchemy Stoned, Psychedelics Secret of Freemasonry. And this is one of the sources, just one of the sources that I had found. Jack, you have your, you don't have your laptop. Oh, you do.
I do.
You have your laptop up, so you can kind of type in Freemasonry and psychedelics, and it will bring up a plethora of stuff. Some of it is bullshit. I want to throw that out right off the bat. That you're gonna run across a lot of stuff right now that you're gonna be like, yeah, this.
The first thing that comes up is this book.
Alchemy Stoned. But the first thing I want to talk about, hey Roger, what's going on? And Roger Hernandez signed up. He filled out a petition. He's been popping on here watching the podcast live from time to time. He's a petitioner, and we'll be taking care of him in September.
Here?
Yeah, he's gonna be.
So you're finally gonna get me that date?
What date?
Of your EA degree?
EA degree, yeah. If Worshipful Master Ryan is watching, he will. I'm sure he'll plug it in here somewhere. I don't know off the top of my head. It's gonna be. I think our inspection is November 2nd, which I believe is the EA degree.
Wow, November.
Yes, November, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Again, I'm not the boss. Ryan is the boss.
Yeah.
Ryan Nordstrom is the boss. But all right, so we're talking about basically psychedelics and Freemasonry. And here's where I tie it all in, and it's all going to kind of fall into play. It has been said that in the early rituals of Freemasonry that psychedelics were used during the rituals. Again, not far off. Liberty Ghost Hunters talked on their last podcast about the Ouija board. And the Ouija board was actually a very household common item back in the day. It's constantly being used. It was like it was nothing. It was just there.
Not in my house.
So I'm not worried about that. But that's for a whole other topic. But I want to just say that so we're going to get a little bit into the ritual of the Master Mason degree. And so let's tie this all in. During our ritual, you symbolically die. It's no secret. It's on the Master. It's on the History Channel. It's no secret. You symbolically die and are reborn into the life of a Freemason. So you have 2 birthdays as a Freemason. Your real birthday, which is when you were born, and you have your Masonic birthday. And actually Grandview, which is what's the word I'm looking for? What is Grandview? Grandview is like
we use it for our bookkeeping nowadays, modern technology, rather than writing it all down.
It actually gives you 2 birthdays, and it says your Masonic birthday, and it says your real birthday. Yeah. Masonic birthday is when you were made a Master Mason, and you again, we're talking about the Master Mason degree. It's no surprise. You can see it in the History Channel that you symbolically die, and you are reborn and raised to the sublime degree of a Master Mason. During that ritual, at the head of your grave, there is a spig of acacia. And we've already learned during the shock collar trivia that the sprig of acacia, sorry, I'm sorry. The sprig of acacia is actually, and I'm actually going to get ours. Why not? Hold on. Keep talking, Jack. Keep talking, Jack.
Yeah, I got nothing. George is looking hard for this. I'm trying to do research, like you said.
That is our symbolic sprig.
Spig. What's a spig?
I don't know. I'm terrible at English. This is no surprise. So that right there is our symbolic. Go ahead, John. Jack, say it.
What?
Sprig of acacia.
That sprig of acacia?
Sprig of acacia.
Put an R in there, you're good to go.
Oh, Christ. I'm going to catch living shit tomorrow.
If I caught it, somebody else.
Yeah, they're going to catch it. But that right there is our symbolic. And what happens is when Grandmaster Hiram was murdered, for not giving up the master's word. He was buried, and that was placed at the head of his grave, the sprig of acacia. So let's go. Joseph Schultz, there we go. Mama says the Ouija board is the devil.
I saw that. That's what I thought you were talking about a minute ago.
Oh, God.
It's for the devil.
It's for the devil.
The medulla oblongata. Mama's wrong again.
Anyway, reeling it back in. The sprig of acacia is placed at the head of the grave. Now, let's get into acacia. Acacia is actually, I think it's over 1,000 different species of acacia. 100 of those are actually said and known to have, it's called psychotropic traits to it.
The Italian electrician just showed up.
Italian electrician just showed up. Go figure that shit out. Yeah. We'll get into you trying to murder me a little while ago, but we'll continue on. It has over 100 different. There are 100 psychotropic types of acacia. So, what am I looking at?
No, I was just looking up something.
Oh, yes, we caught it. Let the meme makers begin.
Hey, there was a photo or a comment put up earlier today that they were waiting for another week's worth of supplies. They were just waiting for this episode.
So, back on the main subject. It's psychotropic. 100 species of this. So, with that being said, it has been surmised by some that the actual death of Hiram has absolutely nothing to do with an actual death or hidden of the master's word, because the sprig of acacia is actually it relates to the actual what's the word, harvesting and or all right. It actually attributes to the harvesting of this particular root, because that is actually the area of the plant that is actually the psychotropic is actually the root of the plant. So when they reach down into the grave and use the hand to lift the body, it's actually symbolic of the harvesting of the root of the sprig of acacia. I'm glad, Joseph, you're laughing. I'm trying hard. So with that being said, the acacia itself is what's the word I'm looking for? Being that in Freemasonry, it's also known as the spiritual part of a Mason. That's where it comes from, is that it's this symbolic harvesting of the root of the plant. And so that's pretty much where it comes from. Again, all this is allegorical, and who really knows if that's really what it's about? But it's a form of a sign, basically attributing the aspect of it being a hallucinogenic to the Masonic ritual, because of all the plants that they picked. Why the hell did they pick the acacia plant? Why didn't it? Could have been anything. There's many other plants that are symbolical that are in the Middle East at the time where Solomon was. You had the olive tree, which is down there. You had a bunch of other plants that could have been used as well. So the sprig of acacia is kind of a reference to that, I guess you could say a trip or a use of DMT as a way to find or get to the seat of the soul. as a part of the Masonic ritual, or a ritual in general, because that's pretty much what you're doing. So if there's anybody who's got any questions or thoughts or anything on that, I just want to throw it out there. Tell me what your thoughts are on that, because it's an interesting concept, to me anyway, that, you know, you have a psychotropic drug that is used by shamans to basically get to the inside of your soul to kind of give you some sort of an experience that would bring you to God. Rocco Affensetti, originally it was canna, then it changed to acacia somewhere in the 1800s. I also want to add that acacia in ancient ritual was also known as akasa. And it has been said by a couple that akasa was because the people were not very good with their lingual speak, much like a certain word that you learn in part of our degree that they couldn't say it right and they ended up getting beheaded. But back to the matter at hand, it is believed that the word akasa was changed to acacia with intent rather than a misspelling or a misunderstanding. Just want to throw that out there. So that brings me to the next part of this, which if you can actually see, I'm going to take down some things here. If you can see our altar, I'm actually going to get up and show you guys. What I had just lifted up was one of the horns on our altar. And our altar at Morningstar Lodge has 4 horns on it. The one of the stories that is talked about, one of the stories that's a good question. The MM degree was created in the 1730s, so who selected the acacia? That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that one. It is an interesting, just an interesting little thing that has been brought up. And again, if you're interested in this, and this is something that kind of reverberates with you, or you want to learn more about it. And again, realistically, nobody really knows where our Masonic ritual, or quote unquote, originated from. We know when minutes are recorded, we know when lodges started to form, but the actual ritual part of it has changed dramatically over years. So if this is something you're interested in, you can check out this Alchemy Stoned book by P.D. Newman, The Psychedelic Secret of Freemasonry. And it's quite interesting. I did not read the book. I simply listened to, actually all day. It was a 2-hour presentation that was done on YouTube. You can find it if you look it up. And it was very interesting, needless to say. But as for the actual MM degree and who decided to select acacia, that I don't know. One of the other things, so back on the next thing I was talking about, is the horns on the altar. One of the stories of the horns of the altar was actually that it attributes to the tabernacle of Solomon, in which if a person was being persecuted, could come to the altar, put his hands and hold on to the horns while he was praying, and his pursuers could not harm him or touch him or take him into custody until he released his hands on those horns. So I can promise you right now, Alex Jones or anybody else, that there is nothing devilish about it. You can read it. It's right flat out in the Bible. But there is actually another alternate thing that I had read, which is quite interesting, about the horns of the altar. In this particular, and I cannot, it escapes me, the site that I had read this on, but one of the things that I had read and did some studying on is that the horns of the altar actually are attributed to a particular horned mushroom that was used even back in the Roman times to cause psychedelic trips. It's so, and the point being is that, with this particular horned mushroom, if you consumed it, it would bring you to a closer understanding of God, because again, you're tripping balls, so to speak, and it would expand your mind, as many psychedelic drugs do, and that the horned altar is actually the mushroom itself. Quite interesting little concept. Again, you can feed into this, you can believe into this. It's a lot of this is allegorical, much of this is speculative, but it's an interesting topic if you really want to get into it. And I had found both of which are quite interesting. Just to think that, again, people over time have tried to understand God and understand life, and Freemasons are not an exception to this rule. And that it's no secret that there are many symbols and things that are hidden within our ritual. And, what's to say that this couldn't be one as well? So it's something to think about, that, Freemasonry could, at least as infantile early stages, could have used this as a gateway for someone who is Egyptian. Yeah, there you go. I mean, we draw our roots from a lot of different things, including alchemy, Egyptology, many different things of our ritual all blend into one. I mean, if you think about it, the pyramid is kind of you have the Shriners, which use the pyramid, but Freemasonry uses a little bit of pyramidish type stuff, I guess you can say. But our Master Mason degree was set at the Temple of Solomon and has absolutely nothing to do with pyramids. So Freemasonry is a blending of all of these different ideologies or thought processes. So what's to say that, psychedelic drugs were not part of that? You had the Philosopher's Stone, which was one of the things that was talked about, is that, they were trying to turn Rafferty. What the hell did you take your squirrel? Funny. But back on what I was saying, Freemasonry has taken a lot of different things from different sects and different religions and different thought process. And what's to say that psychedelics weren't one of them? It's not something that's new. It's not like in the 1960s everybody just started popping mushrooms and taking LSD. Like, this was being done since the beginning of mankind to try to understand life, I guess you can say. So, quite interesting thought, though. Jack ran away. He ran down the stairs. Did anybody notice that? Jack is no longer here. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go help Dan. And then, poof, no Jack. Once I started talking about the connection between Freemasonry and psychedelics, or the potential connections between Freemasonry and psychedelics, Jack is gone. I'm gone. I'm back here by myself, just basically talking shit at this point. Anyway, so those are the two things that's two things that I got. If there's anybody, I'm gonna take some questions now. If you got any questions, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be about this. If you got anything about the lodge that you're currently looking at, or this subject that we're talking about, again, it's a very taboo subject, and this is one that I didn't consult Mike the intern on. I usually do, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm touching here, but I decided to go with it because I think it's any type of knowledge is enlightenment and power. So if anybody's got anything, Rocco, The Egyptians were very well versed in mind, physical, and spiritual. They had more ways of getting high than we can imagine. I want to just clarify this, though. Getting high, I don't believe, was the goal. This wasn't the 1960s where let's just decide to burn our bras and act crazy. The Egyptians, as well as, I guess you can say, if this was a particular part of the Freemason ritual, this was done for a spiritual thing. This was not done, let's just get stoned and get screwed up and act like asses. This was done to get closer to God. So it's quite interesting. I just want to clarify the distinction between the two. Getting high to me means getting high just because the hell with it, it's Friday night, why the hell not? Whereas actually going through a spiritual journey is a much different thing. Joseph Schultz, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Yeah, Jack found out the Grandmaster was on and flew out the door. Jason Mills. So here's what I have learned so far. I am supposed to be high as a kite for my MM later this month. George said so. That is not what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I would actually, I know, this is all ball busted and joking, and I love it. But do not, and this is my opinion, do not go drunk, nor do I recommend getting drunk. Do not go drunk. Do not go stoned. Do not go inebriated in any way, shape, or form, because I promise you it will take away from the experience that you're going to experience. And trust me, you're going to want to remember your Master Mason degree. It's not something you're ever going to forget unless you're inebriated. So, and I don't recommend you do that. Rocco, all theoretical information, since it is legal in our taboo in our state. Again, just want to say, yes, this is all theoretical. This is not any type of proven. There's never been found a document saying, this guy got messed up on mushrooms and took the degree. There's no, it's interesting. It's interesting connections, so to speak. Again, you have acacia, which is a psychotropic drug or tree that has psychotropic things. It's all about connection to earth and spirituality. Intent, sure. Again, it's not being used to if it was being used in Freemasonry, it was not being used to, hey, let's get the new guy in the door and get him completely smashed out of his mind. It was used to as a gateway for them to have an experience, so to speak. Again, if you're looking over there, there is a door that you can see, the safe. It's actually a locked door. That is our chamber of reflection, which for all intents and purposes is a similar thing. You're being locked in a chamber of reflection so that, I've already been busting your balls while you're in the other room. Yeah, I was already letting you have it. You missed the whole second half, but you're going to have to listen to it now. I'm not repeating myself.
Well, I'm helping,
You're helping.
Helping the Italian, the fellow Italian.
While we're talking about that, so I went to get a new breaker. Okay, for the lodge, because I assumed that the breaker was blown. I go down to Home Depot, I grab the breaker, and I'm taking pictures of the old breaker and the new one, and I'm texting the pictures to Dan. And I'm saying, hey, is this it? Is this going to work? Blah, blah, blah. Do you know what Dan says to me?
Figure it out.
No. He says, looks good, but keep the receipt. Looks good, but keep the receipt. So now, basically what that means to me is if it doesn't work, it's going to blow you clean across the room. You're going to have a bloody stump as a hand, and keep the receipt so I can return it for you. So, yeah, that was a pretty funny little conversation me and Dan had. Mushrooms in the safe. No, there are no mushrooms in the safe. The safe actually contains everything that a chamber of reflection normally would. The chamber of reflection, Jack, you've seen it. It's pretty badass.
It is awesome.
And but
it
the purpose
made me want to build one in Naugatuck.
the Chamber of Reflection's purpose is simply to make you look within yourself to see if you are a good person. And if we want to attribute this back to psychedelics force you to do the same. Rafferty, same experience as going to the Chamber of Reflection. Yeah, absolutely right. That's pretty much what I said. It's the proverbial mushroom closet. Squirrel. Nice. ADD much. I love the heckling. It's fun.
Yeah, I just went back to like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh,
I know
yeah.
somewhere's in there. Someone had them.
Oh, yeah, they're taking
And sure enough,
shots.
there it is. Jack and
Yeah,
Nimble,
that's
Jack be
fine.
quick.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. I said Jack ran out the door and flew down the stairs. Anyway, so if there's no other questions on this, I think we're pretty much wrapped it up. Those are the two. Those are the two different ones that I had. I'll recap for you. DMT found inside the root of acacia, which is placed at the head. In order to harvest the root, you have to dig under the ground in order to pull the root out. And the root is where the psychotropic chemical compounds are, which would be symbolical of raising a body or reaching into a grave and lifting a body. The other thing is the horns on the altar, which could very well symbolize the horned mushroom. Again, our altar is the seat of God.
Yeah,
you know, it's the seat of knowledge. It's whatever you want to call it in our lodge. And having the horns on it is maybe symbolical of a mushroom, which was found in ancient, Rome that they used. It was the horned mushroom. And that's pretty much all I got for that. Which nice of you to pop in at the end.
Hey, I'm trying to help Dan, trying to help you. Which I did look up before Dan, like right as Dan walked in, the list of different like acacias that.
Okay.
There's a huge list of
Yes.
different acacia that it's possibility to known to contain some sort of psychoactive.
Correct.
There's a big list.
Yeah, it's a very big list. I think
I stopped counting at 20. Just
it's well over 100.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. And again, you can't just basically go out to the Middle East, grab a sprig of acacia, yank it out of the ground, and start chewing on the roots and expect to get high off it. It's actually a mixture where they have to actually mix a bunch of different things in order to get that effect. But again, it's something that's been done throughout history, and what's to say that it wasn't? And I talked about, there's a lot of different mindsets and different things that blend into Freemasonry. We're not just one religion. We're not just one mindset. We're not just one set of rules. Freemasonry, we draw the Master Mason degree from the Temple of Solomon, but we also have pyramids.
Yep.
We also have crosses. We have a lot of things that are blended into alchemy.
Yeah.
And what's to say that psychedelics weren't part of that thing?
as soon as you said alchemy, boom, rock, it popped up.
Yep.
I don't know if mine's behind.
I had said it earlier too.
Okay.
So you're
I am behind the ball. What do you want
Joseph
me to say?
Schultz. I think Jack can smell purple.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
He's talking about purple aprons. That's why you flew out the door.
Oh, yeah.
So first two patrons to masonry. One guy was burning a bush around acacia. The other used magic and worms to build a temple. Perfect example. That's the two St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Joseph Schultz. They made cream for a burning bush.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm behind on the comments.
Did you get it? Cream for a burning bush.
Oh, I got it.
All right. Yeah.
But,
I love all the children.
nah, good times.
But that's all I got for this podcast. You got anything, Jack? Anything you want to
I
add?
got nothing.
Sure. I know you got nothing to add.
I really don't.
You don't have much to add.
I don't. I told you this beforehand. That
Because you're
I
a sitting
thought it-
master. That's why.
Huh?
You're a sitting master. You can't add much.
What are you gonna do? You know, I told you. I thought you were doing this solo. I misunderstood your message the other
If
night.
I was at Grand Lodge burning at the stake, you.
I would not be the one handing them the matches.
Just the gasoline.
That's right. A little vitamin G doesn't hurt everybody.
Hey, Panza! What's going on with the Lodge building?
It's burning down.
What did he say?
He thinks it's coming from right below us.
Did he say we're getting fed downstairs? I'll run right. For the Freemasons podcast. Wrong that Adam Stoddard says wrong that Solomon and Moses, not St. John's. Solomon and Moses. I don't think Moses really played a factor into our. He doesn't play a factor into our Masonic ritual, believe it or not. Solomon, yes.
Nope. Yeah, the other.
But definitely not Moses. I can tell you that right now. The two patron saints of Freemasonry are the Saints John, but definitely not Moses. Moses, I think, pops up in Scottish Rite rituals.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much all he posts. That's all he pops up.
Yeah,
in.
and it's not even much.
It's not much.
It's really not much.
No. So, any other questions? Anything else? Anybody else has got? Let's see here. Meme time. Yeah, I know. Meme time.
Well, apparently it's before the stains, John. If we're going to correct your spelling, we might as well.
The stains. Okay, I'm just seeing this now. Let's see here. Again, I'm drawing it from, again, I don't know much about old ritual. I know about our ritual now. And our ritual now doesn't have anything to do with Moses, so I'm going off of that. But you're free to look into any of this. I mean, There's so many avenues of Freemasonry. You can go down every corridor. Freemasonry is basically a rabbit hole. Which it's fine by me because it gives me material all day long to do a podcast.
There's always
but
something for
there's
another
so
episode.
many rabbit holes. So absolutely.
Yeah, they all have a side trail.
Rocco, who wired the shit? Dan screams from the corner. That'd be our contractor. I'll have to slap him around. We'll call him up, Ken Hogan, tomorrow. All right. Anyway, for the Freemason podcast, we're going to sign off. We're done for the night. Anybody else got anything else they want to add while you're live? If not, I'm shutting this down. I hope you guys enjoyed the lodge room and had a peek as to what it's all about. This is our lodge room. This is Morningstar Lodge. I've talked about it. I've said pictures, but you're actually getting a nice panoramic view.
It is a nice lodge room.
Because this is Ken's tripod. I touch it with latex gloves. So,
Raph happened to mention something else you guys got coming up.
what else we got coming up? Car show! Yes, car show. Our car show is September 29th at 2 Botsford Road in Seymour, Connecticut. There's going to be a ton of cars up there. The podcast will be there. Ghost hunters will be there. Ton of food. The kids are going to be there, and they're going to be flying around in their electric cars, which are pretty cool, actually. They make little electric cars, and they zip around the parking lot. There's going to be a ton of them, ton of things. Rafferty actually just posted the trophies that were custom made by the kids, and we're come on up. Come on up. We have a good time. It's you get to meet all of us goons if you're not from the state of Connecticut. Come on down, and we're gonna have a good time up there. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Whoa, go Patriots!
Go Patriots! Damn right, go Patriots!
No,
who rocked that one out there?
Adam.
Yes. Where did you see that? I don't even see it.
You've read things that I don't see, but Adam put up "Go Patriots," which I can't agree with.
I totally agree with it. I'm gonna rock the Steelers. All right, so for the Freemason podcast, I am your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Marjorie, signing off,
and Worshipful Brother Jack.
Have a good night, everyone. Oh, wait.
Okay,
I got one more plug to do.
Waiting.
Next podcast, Sunday.
Oh, look, Ken signed in just for the end.
He did. Of course he did. He's another one of those ones who hides. I'm just messing around.
No, yeah.
Next podcast, we're going to announce it on here. We have it scheduled that the UFC Hall of Famer light heavyweight champion, middleweight champion, Pat Miletich, will be Skype interviewing with us.
Yeah.
So we're going to have
a good episode.
Pat Miletich on. That is going to be taking place at 4. That will not be live. but it will be available on the podcast. However, what will be live is we have our Right Eminent Grand Commander of the Grand Commandery of the state of Connecticut. I almost said United States of America.
A real grand guy.
Yes, he's my boss. The right eminent Grand Commander of the state of Connecticut, Michael Seaman, will be coming to the podcast, and he's going to be talking about the York Rite and the Order of the Temple and all that has to do with Templary, what it stands for, charities, all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in that, definitely you want to be here on Sunday. We're going to be basically covering that. So Adam Stoddard, the Bill Belichick of the MMA. Yep.
See, I don't have that now.
Really?
Yeah.
Ken Tarwood, hello from Harmony Stated Communication. So he's our commercial.
Oh.
Mid-meeting cell phone guy.
Yeah.
That's what he is. But
so just take a minute.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the York Rite. We're going to be talking to Pat Miletich. We're going to be questioning him on his Masonic career as well as his career and life and all kinds of stuff. If you're interested, sign on. I'm going to try to go live that night, but
Either way, Sunday's going to be
a busy ass day for the podcast.
It's going to be a good day for the
Hopefully
podcast.
that damn Italian fixes the electric. All right. For real now, for the Freemasons podcast, I am your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Marjorie, signing off.
Worshipful Brother Jack I don't even know. I drew a blank.
Jesus. Keep
Uh,
it real.
yeah.
Have a good one, everyone.
Take care.
We out. We're still live.
Yeah.
Still live. I just went down to the fucking bar and he said
the bar isn't underneath.
No, the hair place is something that's down there.
you got to go to the nail place or the hair place.
It's one or the other. I guarantee you they have a breaker in either one or the other that is stripped, that they have no clue what it
If it's
is.
the hair place, I love her. She's a sweetheart downstairs. If it's the nail place,
I know
you're
one of them,
going.
I was gonna say, one of them is not.
You're going.
It wasn't your,
Actually, I wonder if they have keys in the bar downstairs.
They might. Hey, I'll put it this way. Where's your?
I'm gonna go get a Frenchie while I'm down there.
Where's the man? Go ahead. Hey, you do you. I don't judge.
Oh shit, we're still live.
I know.
Oh my god. All right. Have a good have a good one, everyone.
Take care.
I went up to the attic.